Hey friends, in this video, I want to give you a few lessons on how you can start your own marketing agency and some tips that I learned along the way, building a marketing agency from zero to multiple six figures and growing by closing deals, following up quickly on work, and building up rapport with my clients. Let's dive in. Okay, so one of the biggest problems that people have when they're starting an agency is quite simple. A lot of people don't have money. That is the hardest part to starting a business. If you're a current employee at a company or even doing fractional work, you know that money generation is the hardest part. Cash flow is difficult. And that's because as an employee, you have predictable income on a weekly or monthly basis that you can plan on and forecast with. It's the same thing when starting your own business. So if you're starting today with $0, what you quickly need to do is reverse engineer your monthly expenses. That means things you have to pay, bills, not the extras, and see how many clients does it take to get to that to launch. That's then the cliff and the stepping point in which you need to jump. You might not feel ready, and by no means am I telling you, because I don't know your full situation, to do it, but I'll say this was the hardest part for me for several years until I was laid off from a really well-paying job and I kind of had to create my own income. I did a short-term stint as a fractional marketer that then turned into building out an agency where I'm at today, and I'm still learning, and that's why I want to share these tips with you. So start to forecast your cash flow so that way you can have predictable income and no stress or anxiety about money. Okay, the second thing I see people deal with is being unknown. They don't have a personal brand, which is why now, even if you're thinking about going full-time, working for yourself and being self-employed, you need to start thinking about a brand. Now, that doesn't mean you need a logo and a mark and business cards and all of that. Those things can wait. What it means is you have to have the thing that you're known for. What are you posting online? And if you're not online, those are some places to start. LinkedIn, especially if you're in the professional world, Instagram, and TikTok, depending on where your audience lives. Think about the people that you sell to. Where do they online spend the most time, and how can you be proactive in that area? In your local community, branching out further and further. Many of my clients don't live in the region that I live in. They're around the world, they're global, and they introduce me to other people who live in different places. So proximity always isn't important, but if you get involved in local groups and get known for a certain thing, i.e. marketing in this case for this video, then people will remember you and you stay top of mind when you come up in conversation. Going from unknown to known through a personal brand is the second challenge that I see agencies have, and that's how you can start to resolve it. Third, now that you have a little bit of cash flow and you're known, you need to start building systems, building out a schedule so people can book meetings with you, knowing when you're going to be working, what type of busy time you're going to have, type of free time you're going to have on a daily basis, and sticking to that schedule. Now, I like to work around the clock. That's just my style. I work peak early in the mornings and late in the evenings, the midday. I just kind of am doing things that I need to get done as far as tasks. But beyond that, that's my creative thinking time, is both early mornings and evenings. So plan around your personality type, meetings, family, and more. And that's one of the perks of working for yourself. If you can afford to do it, take time to rest, rejuvenate, and work on a time clock that you're most happy, because that will be a reflection from you ultimately to your clients. And remember to stay consistent. When you're working for yourself, you often don't have a boss looking over your shoulder, making sure you're clocking in and clocking out. It's easy to take advantage of, and sometimes you should, but also if you're really serious about growing your business, you have to be outworking your competition. So after you have some cash flow going, you're starting to be known for a certain brand. Think of a tagline or a statement or an industry or a set of skills. And then you also have figured out your scheduling, so you know when you're going to be working. It's time to create systems. What do I mean by systems? You have to have a way to track your projects. I use Notion, there's Monday, there's Trello, there's a ton of tools out there, and you're gonna have to invest in these tools if you wanna grow a business. I know it's painful when you have to pay all these subscriptions, but as a marketing group or as a business owner, it's just part of the deal. And customers hire you because you have access to these tools. Building systems means building things that are repeatable. This is something that I have a big focus on in my business right now. When you are building a pathway to be able to create a project and get something done repeatably over and over, you now have something that you could sell and tailor, but then you also have a way that you can pass on that work to another individual in the future, which will also then grow your business as well. Systems help businesses scale. All of the business coaches around will tell you about them, all the masterminds, all the folks who have done it before. You got to build systems for your business to grow and scale outside of yourself. And that will allow you to work on the systems in the future and not just the tasks that lie within them. Check it out. I hope it's helpful for you as you start to build your own. And lastly, if you've jumped into the full time, you know that it's part of the deal to do sales. Now, I meet with clients every single week, and I've tried a lot of different outbound mechanisms, email, LinkedIn, social media, a lot of different avenues, newsletters, and I think all of them do add up to a totality of being known, which then drives income through meetings, which you close a percentage of. You're not going to close every single meeting. Don't get in your head about losing one client or not closing a deal or someone saying you're too expensive. The price is the price for your time. Don't be pushed around in the initial deal. But when you get into a sales meeting, you do need to have a great offer and what you can provide spelled out clearly. If you don't believe it and you don't have a pathway, no client is ever going to hire you to be a part of their organization and bring in that kind of thinking. Strategists, marketers, consultants don't need to have all of the answers in the meeting. They have to ask great questions that can lead to answers and systems to solve the problems for their clients. This is one of the biggest parts of my business and why I think it's successful, because I don't focus on just one task I can do for the business. I kind of gel into the company and figure out all the marketing needs and see how I can help out. Sometimes I'm doing it for free. I'll complete a task, I'll get something done just because I know it's the right thing to do. And sometimes clients, they reward that. Other clients, they could care less. But what it does is it shows that you're showing initiative outside the simple things, which then they'll give you more things to do and accomplish for their business, which leads to the last and final thing that I want to tell you need to do. So after you have cash flow going, you're starting to get known, you're building out a schedule, you have systems, and you're finally doing some sales, you need to grow revenue and recurring revenue. This is something in my business where about 50% of my income this year is from projects. I can't really forecast what next year is going to be. It could be more, it could be less. It kind of depends on the projects that I get. The projects also take up time, which affects all of the different things I mentioned before, so you can't really rely on it. So recurring revenue as a freelancer or an agency is crucial. The thing that I waited too long to do was offer low barrier of entry plans to my current clients. That's really one of the key things that I've done to grow my business, and I think that you should do right away. Now, not every client who's new with you is going to jump on, but I realized when you give the expectation to work with a client for 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days, that's great to have an initial relationship or start a small project or campaign you're helping to launch or something like that. But ultimately, it serves no one because it's not built on partnership, which has longevity, and then also the institutional knowledge that a consultant or a marketer would get. Or let's say you're a designer, social media, you have a niche within marketing. You want to build those relationships up. So focus on selling 6-month to 12-month plans and show that you're willing to give a little bit, which means a discount of some sort, and it doesn't have to be a lot. I'm not saying give 50% off. I'm saying low 4% is plenty. People realize that that's a really big investment for you as a freelancer, and offer those packages up front and make sure the offers are tailored. You have to have a great offer when you're in that sales process, and then you're off to the client. In those meetings, don't feel the need to over-explain everything. You already did the work, you know the pricing, and if anything, it portrays confidence when you're selling them on these retainers. That means you want to partner with them long-term. One of my biggest deals this year, I was in a meeting and was offered a 6-month contract. I said, hey, I would love to work with you annually. They were so shocked and happy. They were so excited that I was going to be a part of it annually. And they said, hey, we're working with you with 1 year, but hopefully this turns into a 2-year agreement. And what I learned through that is that we can never read other people's minds. So you're better being honest in those meetings about budgets, pricing, all of that kind of stuff to be able to close a deal. Now, I don't know everything about business or marketing and working with clients. I'm still learning. I've read tons of books on them and done research and have a lot of experience freelancing and working in high roles within marketing teams to manage team members and to develop campaigns and work with C-suite executives. What I can tell you is that everybody's faking it to a certain extent, so your confidence needs to shine through in these meetings, and you also need to know your worth and your value. You can do it. I hope this was helpful for you, and thanks for tuning in. Launch your business and follow along. Subscribe here for more tips like this, where you can learn how to grow and scale your business and your client's business. Thanks so much from all of us at Chasing Creative.